vicinity, but what you have to do is bask in the good things of the Lord. Yeah. Walking with him, knowing that he can handle anything you can face. Yeah. Jesus was telling us then, and he's speaking to us today. Don't worry about your hard work, because it'll be rewarded. Amen. Amen. Don't worry about your enemies. Amen. Because God can handle them. Yeah. Don't worry about your haters. Don't worry about the people who want to be like you, because guess what? They are only witnesses to your greatness. Amen. Yeah. The enemy is busy by design. Yeah. And we need to be faithful with purpose. I want to encourage you today. Amen. Keep planting and stop worrying. Yeah. Keep planting and stop worrying. Somebody will get that in a second. You need to keep planting, amen, somebody, amen, and stop worrying. You need to keep sowing and stop stressing. I'll say that again. You need to keep sowing and stop stressing. The enemy is busy, but we have to understand that God has the final say so. Amen. You need to speak life into your situation and know that you will reap a harvest. Amen, somebody. And then you will produce a crop that's worth it all. Amen. You need to speak life into your situation and say, I'm greater than what they say about me. I'm better than where they put me. I can have more than what I have right now. You need to speak into your situation. Speak into your life and say, by his stripes I'm healed. Amen. Sickness is over because by his stripes I'm healed. I don't have to be depressed no more because I have joy on the inside that the world didn't give and the world can't take away. Somebody ought to be excited right now because you can sow some joy. Does anybody need joy? You can sow some peace. Does anybody need peace? You can sow some healing. Does anybody in the building need healing? Deliverance is yours to reap. Amen, somebody. Joy is yours to reap. Peace is yours to reap. Comfort is yours to reap. Whatever it is in your life that you need, God's got it. Whatever it is in your life that you need to have, God can handle it. Whatever's going on in your life, God can protect you. God can keep you. God can cover you. Stop worrying about the weeds and focus on the wheat. Stop worrying about your haters and focus on the elevator. Amen. Stop worrying about the mess that you see and focus on the Messiah that's always around. You no longer have to be wrapped up in weeds because the weed can't do nothing with wheat. Amen, somebody. I'm trying to figure out today, are you wheat or are you weed? I'm trying to figure out today, are you wheat or are you weed? I'm trying to figure out today, are you wheat or are you weed? Are you growing in Christ or are you poison in the soil? Are you ready to be separated for God's purpose? Or you still want to be bound to something or bound to someone? I'm trying to figure out, are you weak or are you weak? See, you can be surrounded by weak, but when you realize who you are, when you realize whose you are, when you realize what you are, you understand that a weed can't do nothing with you. A weed can't do nothing with you. A weed can't stop your growth. A weed can't stop your prosperity. A weed can't stop your advancement. Amen, somebody. Y'all need to understand that you are wheat and you are precious in God's sight. Doesn't matter what happens or what goes on, just hold on to the ground that you have. Hold on to the solid foundation and let God handle the weeds. Amen. I'm not talking about the weeds that you roll. I'm talking about the weeds that might roll with you. You need to focus on the wheat and not the weeds. See, there'll always be weeds. And I know that for a fact. Amen. Because Jesus dealt with some 2,000 plus years ago. Amen. There were weeds all around. Does anybody know this story? There were some haters. There were some procrastinators. There were some people who plotted to hurt and harm Jesus. The weeds thought they could choke out the wheat. Some of y'all gonna get it in a second. They thought they could choke out the wheat. They thought they could hinder the bread of life. Amen. They thought they could harvest him up and do some separating, but they didn't realize that God does the separating. And Jesus needed to be separated for a little while. from the wheats. Amen. He needs to be separated from the weeds. Amen. To produce a crop. In a manner that was supposed to cause shame, they nailed him to a cross, but that actually was a symbol of God's glory. Amen. Jesus was convicted. I know you know the story. He was cut down. He was nailed to that cross. He was buried in the tomb, but I like to say not only was he buried, but he was replanted to grow. Amen. To come out greater without the distraction of the weeds. Jesus rose from the grave, the harvest. Jesus rose from the grave, the Redeemer. He rose from the grave, the Messiah. He rose from the grave, the lily of the valley. He rose from the grave, the healer when you need it. He rose from the grave, somebody will catch it in a second, breaking yokes that had you bound. Amen. He rose from the grave to break the chains in your life, the chains in my life, the chains that prevent you from being all you can be in God. Amen. He rose from the grave with all power in his hand. Somebody say all power. He rose with all power. Somebody say all power. He rose with all power. Somebody say all power. All power to handle your rent. All power to handle your finance. All power to handle the hurt. All power to handle the depression. Does anybody understand that he rose with all power? And all power can handle anything, not just some things. Don't just hold on to stuff. Give him all your stuff and let God handle it. I can preach all day and some of y'all still ain't gonna get it. Are you wheat or are you a weed? Look at your neighbor. Say neighbor. I'm not a weed. I'm wheat. Are you wheat or are you my weed? We have to understand that everybody who rides shotgun don't have your best interest at heart. They got this thing now, they call it snitching. But back in the day, snitches get stitches. Watch out. But back in the day, they used to call it turning state's evidence. Y'all, anybody remember that? I do. Turning state's evidence. That means you was with me. You was my homie. We was together. We was riding out. And something went down. And the first thing you said, well, I will tell you what happened. As long as you get rid of this time. Amen. You know, people will do a lot of things under pressure. But there's one thing to be certain, that under pressure, God has got you.
Yes, amen.
God can handle it.
Yes.
Focus on the what? Wait. All right, somebody is sleeping. Focus on the
wait
and not the
wait.
Let us all stand. I know some of y'all thinking I was with some of my weeds last night. Can anybody testify to that? Don't raise your hand. I saw a hand raised. Amen. You are weak. You're precious. God is looking out for you, even when all that other crazy stuff is going on. There are some of us in the room who need to realize who we are. Realize who we are and what we are. You are great in the sight of God. You might have a minimum wage job, but guess what? You're great in the sight of God. You might not have a car right now, but guess what? You're great in the sight of God. Your money might be funny and your change might be strange and your credit might not hit it, but you are precious in the sight of God. He's the what? That's right, sing it. something going on in your life and you want us to pray for you, feel free to come forward. There are hands to hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you need prayer, if there's something going on in your life and you want us to pray for you, feel free to come forward. Feel free. You are what? To have one, if you desire to be tied into the body, we invite you to come. If you don't have a church home, if you don't have a place that you call home as your church, we invite you to come. Amen. Is anyone else? Amen. Is anyone else? You've been looking, you've been seeking, you've been searching, and you need to be tied into the body. We invite you to come. Is anyone else? There's always room. You say, I've been coming to New Beginnings for a while. I've been popping in the building from time to time. I feel like this is my church home. But guess what? You can walk down right now and say, this is my church home. Is anyone else? Jojo, amen. 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 So, Jojo, is that okay? I call you Jojo? Can everybody else call you Jojo too? Okay, so everybody call her Jojo. Amen. So Jojo is joining us. She's going to be a part of us. She's going to be a member of this body. Amen. So, before we leave, I want everybody to give her a hug. Tell her that you love her in the Lord. Amen. And that we just thank God for her. So it is a pleasure to call you member, and I don't take it lightly that you can call me pastor. Amen. I take it as it's a pleasure, it's an honor. Amen. So I think we already got your information, so you can go back to your seat. Amen. Amen. Because she's been coming, we already got her stuff. Amen. 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 All right. Y'all ready to go home? Wrong answer. Because it's offering time. Let the church say amen for offering time.